Hey, so you didn't do well or you missed your last test and you want to see how to do the answers, so we're going to show it to you really quick. This is the fraction as much test that was taken on, what is it, Friday the 8th, I think. All right, so let's take a look. So the first one, you're just setting up the equation. So what is 2/3 as much? 2/3 as much. So notice it doesn't say as much more, it doesn't say as much less, it just says 2/3 as much. So since it doesn't say as much more, which would be 1 plus, it doesn't say as much less, which would be 1 minus, it's just 2/3, so it's just like that. What is 1/8 as much less? Well, when it's much less, we know it's going to be 1 minus. Like this, and if it's 1 more, then it's like this. And that is how these problems work. If it says as much more, it's 1 plus. If it says as much less, it's 1 minus. And if it doesn't say those things, then you don't do anything at all. So what is 2/5 as much less? That's as much less, so it's 1 minus. 3/4 as much, doesn't say as much more, doesn't say as much less, so just 3/4. And what is 1/9 as much more? That would be as much more, so it's 1 plus. That's how you do those. So go ahead and answer the questions now. And now let's try to look at this one real quick. So Superman runs 500 miles in an hour. Flash runs 3/10 as much more than that. How far does the Flash run in 1 hour? So since it's as much more, you can use the equation tool here. We know it's 3/4 as much more. Make sure I've got the problem correctly. 3/10 as much more. So since it's 3/10 as much more, it's going to be 1 plus 3/10 times 500. Like so. And then how do you solve that? Well, to solve that, we got to figure out how to add these two fractions together. So to add the fractions together, the easiest way, there's lots of easy ways to do it. One way to do it, which we've been doing in class a lot, is just to change that 1 into a 10/10, because if it's 10/10 and 3/10, I can add it together. So we'll go ahead and do that. We'll put our equation in and we'll say, make it 10/10 plus 3/10 times 500. And now that it's 10/10 plus 3/10, well, if I've got 10 trees plus 3 trees, that would be 13 trees, or 10 cats plus 3 cats is 13 cats. So 10/10 plus 3/10 makes 13/10. So now I can add that together and say that would be 13/10 times 500. Like so. And I'm almost done. I can now go 500 divided by 10 times 13. I want to do it as a fraction, or I can do it as a decimal and do 13 divided by 10. If I do 13 divided by 10, that's actually really easy. 13 divided by 10 is just 1.3. So this would just be 1.3 times 500. And 1.3 times 500 is, 1.3 times 500 is 650, and the answer is 650. The answer is 650 miles per hour. Yeah. Makes sense. And then for this one, One Punch Man can punch through 104 steel walls. He does 3/8 as many less. So since it's as many less than that, we know it's going to be 1 minus 3/8 times 104. And then same thing goes. We're going to be able to solve that. We're going to need to change that 1 into an 8/8. So we're going to go 8/8 minus 3/8 times 104. And you're probably already thinking, well, 8/8 minus 3/8 is only 5/8. And that's right. So that gets us down to 5/8 times 104. And now I'm able to solve it. And I can either solve it by dividing by the bottom times by the top. I can go 104 divided by 8 times 5. Or I can go to my calculator, change it into a decimal. 5 divided by 8 divided by 8 is 0.625. So this is 0.625 times 104, which is